Hey y'all, it's Mamaw. It's time for Sunday Morning Live. So wake up, grab your coffee, and let's talk. Okay, y'all. I hope you're having a good Sunday morning. It is Pearl Harbor today. 84 years ago today, we were hit at Pearl Harbor. Just lost another one of our veterans from Pearl Harbor. So, we'll just have to think about that. So, here we are on a cold Sunday morning, but there's lots of news. Good Lord, that taco never stops. When I first started doing this, I thought, man, I'm really going to struggle to have something to talk about almost daily. Now it's like, what don't you have to talk about? But we're going to talk about things. So we're going to start out the day with about the boats and murder. You've seen my posts that I put up about what's going on. And apparently, they're still trying to struggle around and changing their stories, old Petey Pie and Company, and it ain't working. Because the bottom line is, they've killed 80 some people, and now they're trying to figure out what they're going to do about it. And it isn't going to be easy, and we're not going to let up. So stay focused on that. We really need to have public hearings, and I hope you all will make sure, whether you just sit down, write a text, write a post, actually pick up the phone and call. We need public hearings about this because I do not give permission to commit murder in my name, and I am a U.S. citizen. So that brings me to this birthright citizenship crap. They are the Supreme Court, those sorry sons of bitches, are going to hear birthright citizenship. Are you kidding me? What is there to hear? And what's particularly rich is it's being driven by people whose own families are very driven by immigration stories. So here in Ohio, we have Vivek Ramaswamy running for governor. And he was endorsed early this year, just out of the chute, by the Republican Party of Ohio. So there was no primary, no chance. And if you don't remember, Vivek ran for president. And then he got to kissing the taco's ass so much it was obnoxious. And the taco has, anointed him. So let me tell you about Vivek's story. Vivek is claiming that his family, we want to do away with immigration and we want to do this and that. Vivek's parents immigrated from India. He is Hindu. He became friends with J.D. Vance, who was Jimmy Hamill at the time, and Usha Vance, and I can't say her maiden name, and I do apologize. And he is this billionaire. He made millions while he was still a college student. This is his creation story. And he's going to change everything because all we have to do is pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. He wants to do away with birthright citizenship as well. Okay, first of all, Vivek's family was wealthy when they came here. His mother was a doctor, his dad's a scientist of some flavor. Vivek and his brother were born in the U.S. before their mother became a citizen. Vivek's father is still not a U.S. citizen. So by Vivek being born here and becoming a citizen, that makes him an anchor baby, doesn't it? The very thing that he's against. And he thinks that we ought to be deporting Somalis. He thinks we ought to be going after Mexicans because his family did it the right way. The Somalia community did it the right way. They were allowed into this country under asylum. And I've got news for you, Vivek. Go look in the mirror. If you were in your private jet, surrounded by private security, and out walking on the street, ICE would grab your butt up too. How dare you treat other immigrants as poorly as you are? Vivek even went out to Montana to speak at Turning Point USA and got booed off the stage. Of course, we're not hearing about that in Ohio because he's not a white Christian man. So it's really rich that he's going after immigrations and other immigrants. That includes Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno. Bernie Moreno is proposing legislation in the Senate that you can only have one citizenship. Now, First Lady Melania Trump, son Barron Trump have dual citizenships. They are citizens of Slovenia and the U.S. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, has 3 citizenships: the U.S., Canada, and South Africa. Rupert Murdoch has multiple citizenships. I mean, this goes on and on. Trump's 3 oldest children have birthright citizenship because Ivana was not a citizen when she had the first 2 and then had to be naturalized. So people, it is really rich that they're all yakking and hawking and carrying on, and yet they have taken advantage of these very same policies they want to take away from other people. Now let's continue on with Bernardo Moreno. Bernardo did not become a U.S. citizen until he was 18 or 19 years old. His parents are still citizens of Colombia. He has 2 brothers and I believe a sister that are still citizens of Colombia. And then there's 2 other kids that became U.S. citizens. But he is a rich man. He's into, everybody talked about him being a car salesman. No, he's into cryptocurrency. He's the one who taught the Trumps how to get into the crypto. So he's rich. He gets to do what he wants, but he doesn't want you to be able to. So there you go again. And then you have Usha Vance. Usha Vance's parents immigrated to this country. Usha Vance's mother is a citizen and his father is not, and Usha Vance is Hindu. And we've already heard about JD getting in front of God and everybody and saying he wished she was a Christian woman. So there you have it. Hypocrites on full display. So I just wanted to point out, don't fall for this crap from this bunch of hypocrites. And what they're doing to Somalis, and what Taco said about Ilhan Omar, who is a U.S. Congresswoman, duly elected, calling her garbage, calling her and AOC and Jasmine Crockett stupid, low IQ, when they are obviously, if they walk into a room with him, are 10 times smarter than he is not only insulting to people of color, it is insulting to women. And we have got to stop letting them do this to women. So, okay, so let me read some questions that we have here this morning, because Mamaw's on a roll. Oh, good morning, Margaret from the United Kingdom. Maureen, good morning to you as well. Marja, good morning. Pam Darty, good morning. Callista, you're being blocked. You found your way around, but damn. Okay. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, Callista. So here's a problem Mamaw's having. I think I explained to you because I've had several private comments. Oh, you shouldn't be calling names. Then you're going to be like Taco and that. Listen, the reason I call people in the administration and I've made up names is because TikTok and now sometimes Facebook will block things if you use their proper names. That's number one. Now, you know how I told you all, if even if I don't answer, or at least, give you a thumbs up or a heart or something that I read your post? Well, I've been trying to do that since yesterday, and now I get a message that reads that I'm no longer allowed to have that thing so that I can do that. And they're doing it for the safety of my viewers because I might be spam. But nowhere can I find to tell them, no, I just have a lot of followers. And unlike other people, I actually like to respond to my followers. And it's not letting me. So I am trying to respond to you. But I think this is yet another way of Facebook. Old Zuckerberg and company are falling into line, and this is their way of making sure that certain messages don't get out to the mass population. So I'm trying, but it's roadblock after roadblock with social media because the big boys who own social media now are trying to contain it for the taco. It isn't going to work. It isn't going to work. So let me continue on. So Wendy, good morning to you. And she says good morning to the fellow porch community members. I think we're all happy to be here. I hope y'all are. Marlene, good morning from Michigan. Joan Henry, good morning. This keeps jumping. Be patient with me. Judy Birdsall, good morning to you too. Sue Goldsmith from Antioch, California. Man, you got up early. And yes, they are nothing but a bunch of hypocrites. And I'm just so done with it, and I will be calling it out. So I hope all of you watched my drop I did earlier this week about nurses. I promised my nurses I would do something. I am sure that all of you that are regulars of the porch community grabbed the biting humor that I had in it. Make sure you watch the whole thing and please share it. And then I hope you watched the drop that I did about the boats and this news media. I swear to God, they're like a junkyard dog with a bone, going double tap, double tap, double tap, not even knowing what the hell they're saying or what it means. So I explain that, and I talk about the murder of these people in the boats. So I do hope that y'all watch that as well, and that's been dropped on there. Then I did a drop about this immigration issue, but you got to go into the comments because then I in the comments did the drops that I had previously done about Bernie Moreno, J.D. Vance, Rupert Murdoch, Elon Musk, and birthright citizenship. So watch all of those. Now that this has come to the forefront, I never dreamt in a million years that the damn Supreme Court would take this case. I mean, this was such a no-brainer. But since they have, you need this information so that you've got something you can fight with, toss back at the MAGA crowd, and know what you're talking about when you tell them, no, this isn't right and this is why. So please watch that post and then go into the comments and you'll see where I reposted all the information about these people. So who else do we got here? Let's... Nancy, good morning to you too. Good morning, Amanda. Hey, Kim, good morning to you. Tell Bob I said hi. Susan from Texas, good morning to you all too. April is catching me live from New York. At least it's colder up there than it is here. That's my only consolation because it is damn cold here. Yes, Sue, we're going to talk about the Epstein and the economy in just a little bit. Denny Kane from upstate New York, good morning to you too. Viona, yes, they are a bunch of hypocrites, and it's our job, and we are going to keep pointing it out because eventually the people that are in the MAGA pool, it's going to sink in. It's going to sink in to those who are not millionaires and billionaires that they have been duped, that they've been lied to, and the only way that's going to sink in is not to have a fight, but just to constantly, the way they got brainwashed was that constant bombardment of false information. We're going to do the same thing with the correct information. Now, sometimes, and I mean, I've got Democrats mad at me. Sometimes I'm telling them things they don't want to hear either. But I research it, and we're just going to start doing something really bizarre. We're going to start fighting with facts. And we're going to repeat them over and over, and we're all going to have something that we can use our outside voices and say, no, that's wrong. This is what's going on. Okay, Ruth Ann, greetings from Rhode Island. Well, good morning to you too. And Debbie from California, well, good morning to you. You got up early. And Elaine Wallen from West Virginia, well, you're a neighbor. Papa and I like to go hide out in Kentucky and West Virginia. For all of you that aren't from this area, two of the best kept secrets in this country for places to hide out and vacation are Kentucky and West Virginia. They're beautiful, and they have beautiful places to go, and they're not super touristy crowded. So if you really want good vacation spots, go to Kentucky and West Virginia. And I didn't even get paid by either governor to say that. Good, Evelyn. I'm glad you saw that on Birthright Citizens. So make sure that you share that and push that out. Karen, good morning from Montana. And we have Barbara from Portland, Oregon. Evelyn from Utah. Georgia checking in. Well, at least I think it's a little bit warmer down in that area. But it looks like Georgia's turning a nice shade of purple these days. Let's keep it up. Linda Fink from Michigan. Well, I guess Michigan still got even with Ohio State because Indiana beat Ohio State last night. It was terrible. I cried myself to sleep, but at least we beat Michigan. Okay, Pam Darty said she's blocked from liking. What is up with that on Facebook? They've never done that before. The other thing Facebook has done, TikTok started it. You can only do 3 hashtags and 5 @ signs. Now Facebook has limited, but they don't tell you the number. It's just all of a sudden it won't post and says you used too many. So they're really trying to contain information. And what ticks me off, I'd really rather use the P word, but what ticks me off is that they didn't do that to the other side. They didn't do that to the misinformation that came from the MAGA and QAnon bunch. They're only doing it from true information and factual information that's coming from people like me and Texas Paul and Politics Girls and the I Had It girls. So that just really ticks me off. Shirley, good morning from Pennsylvania. Yes, it's set up. Here's a good, Judy Birdsall says she doesn't get the message, but she can hit like on posts like this. It sets up to discourage people from posting. That is true. Now, I can write a reply so far, knock on wood, but I can't hit the thumbs up right now. So y'all please be patient because I'm telling you, I do read these just like I am now. Wendy Allen says, now that's in the way, said she said, my nurse drop was spot on and she enjoyed it. Well, good. Please share it with all that you can find. It took me quite a while to do that. I did do some humor with that, and the one that I did with Gavin Newsom reading his letter. God, I just love the way Gavin's crew trolls the taco, because y'all got to understand, if we kept hitting with all this heavy stuff, it is depressing, and you got to lighten it up. But You can do a lot with humor. I hope you all watched Petey Pie Hegseth getting skewered on Saturday Night Live last night. If you didn't, go to YouTube and watch the cold open. Um, Collins really found his little niche there. Hudson Valley, New York. Good morning to you, Judith Parker, and good morning from Joe Ingalls from Arvada, Colorado. Audrey Shapiro, Richmond, Virginia. Little known fact, Mamaw used to live in Leesburg, Virginia. Let's see. Oh, well, thank you very much. Lisa Lykin said the nurse drop was epic. So if y'all haven't watched it, I put a lot of thought into it. It was very hard. I had to do 2 takes to keep from cracking myself up because I was really going to be a little bit more colorful with it, but determined maybe I better not. Yes, Lorna Wheat, Petey Pie needs to do a lot of things. And God, I hope you all are watching South Park. Every once in a while, I have good friends and Papa say, oh my God, they're going to knock on the door and come after you. Listen, with what South Park's doing, it's going to be a long time before they come and knock on my door, let me tell you. Dear Lord, they are really getting epic in their grilling. Toby Sharp says, I'm an RN and laughed so hard at your nurse drop. Oh, well, I'm glad you did. Now, let's talk about nurses and social workers and teachers and why this is important. To say that they're no longer in respiratory therapist, occupational therapist, physical therapist, I'm not trying to leave anybody out. It's just a pretty big thing. First of all, for Linda McMahon, the queen of fakery and the WWE, to sit down with the taco and the Department of Education, first of all, putting her over the Department of Education was a rip, and determined that these occupations were no longer considered professionals. Let me tell you what that means and what's behind it. If they aren't professionals, these are skills that are billed to Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance companies. Think about it. So now, number one, if they're not professionals, then we don't have to pay them a professional rate, do we? That's number one. But number two, and the most serious thing, and I'm getting all kinds of dings and bells, the most important thing is for those who want to go for advanced degrees, like in nursing, if you want to get your BS in, if you want to get your MS in, if you want to become a physician's assistant or a certified nurse practitioner, this is just one example, you're not going to be able to borrow money to do that because it's not considered a profession. In addition, even where your employer will pay for your schooling, what people don't realize is these employers get money back for advancing the education of their staff. Well, they're not going to get reimbursed anymore, so your employer's not going to be able to pay for it anymore. And then it's a vicious dog, because then are you going to borrow money if you're not considered professional to where you can bill at a professional rate? It's a nasty, dirty thing. And again, you're voting in rich people who have never wanted for anything. They're going to get more money, and they've all invested in these insurance companies and stuff, and they're going to hold us down more and more. So it's going to affect the economy, because we're not getting a workforce of people that are well-trained, sought after, that have making good money is a key element. So they're pushing us down to where we're going to be in a caste system. The haves and the have-nots. There's not going to be any in between if this keeps on. We have got to stop the oligarchy, or we're going to look like Russia. That's a fact. Everybody better wake up. Your neighbors that are MAGA better wake up. There's nothing like driving past houses where you know that they're barely keeping the lights on and seeing a big God bless Trump sign out there. So that's what's going on. So we're going to talk about the economy a little bit. So the taco's trying to convince everyone that this is made up about the economy. Okay, I'm on a fixed income just like a lot of y'all. And I do this and try to fit it in and try to do little extra things to make a little bit. Papa and I try everything that we can to save money. We live in a multi-generational house, so we pool funds. I understand. We all are pooling it in together. So, while people who have things in the stock market, a lot of us don't, can say, well, they're doing well because the stock market's doing well. Go to the grocery store. So you have a set fixed income. Most of us do. We're on a fixed income every month if we're a certain age. And you know you've got this to spend. Our utilities have taken a big jump. Our LP gas bill has taken a big jump. Our food bill has taken a big jump, and I don't care what the taco says. Of course, he liked the new word. Remember, he was so excited about the new word he'd heard, groceries. Have you ever heard that word, groceries? My God. And they've taken a big jump. And everybody wanted to vote against Biden because the bird flu caused egg prices to go up. So everybody went out and got their own chickens. My God, meat has gone up. Milk has gone up. Basic staples have really gone up to where, if you'll remember this summer, I did a drop on eating poor. It's here, folks, and these prices are still going up. We've got kids that can't buy houses because even the ones that are available, you're not getting very much for a jacked up price, and the interest rate is just strangling high. So how do you buy? New vehicles, how are we going to keep the auto workers working when people can't afford the new vehicles because the interest rates are so high? So yeah, Taco hasn't done anything for us. And then he slapped these tariffs on top of it. And once again, we're not forcing China to pay these because we still have to have the stuff coming from China. He's bragging about the money he's making on tariffs, and he thinks that's his own little personal slush fund. Folks, we're paying that. That is a secondary tax that he has put on us, taxation without representation, taxation that was not levied by Congress, and the Constitution is very clear, only Congress can levy a tax. He has been told by the courts that he cannot do a tariff, and the only reason that this is still going on is because Mikey Johnson is curled up in a corner, flogging himself, scared to death that the taco's going to say boo. And keep in mind also this week that Mikey Johnson said the reason that he doesn't have any women in leadership in the Congress is that women can't think well enough to compartmentalize. Seriously, are you kidding me? So that's what's going on in the Congress and with Mikey Johnson and the economy. Now, all this is, so let's go back here. We got some more questions now. Yes, Joan Henry says many of us had to have advanced degrees in our fields, and the minimum requirements for so many are master's degree. That's correct. Social workers. My mother was a social worker at one point in time, and you have to have a master's degree. Well, who's going to pay for it? And then with a lot of teaching jobs to move up, you have to have a master's degree. Well, if you won't get compensated for having that advanced degree and compensated enough to pay for the education to get that degree, what the hell? It's ridiculous. Sue lives in a multi-generational home too, and we're going to see that more and more. I've talked to a lot of people that have built on like we did, the apartments on the side, and they're multi-generational homes, and we're getting back to living like the Waltons, because guess what? That's just how the economy is. Yeah, Sandy Hill affordability is a Democratic hoax. Yeah, well, I'd like to take tacos shopping, and believe you me, if it ain't on sale or I don't have a coupon, it doesn't get bought, and it's still not affordable. Evelyn Christian volunteers at a food bank. There are so many people that need help, many elderly and young families, and people that are working, people that have never had to go to a food bank before because they've still cut SNAP and they intend to use SNAP as a weapon. Here in Ohio, they really intend to use SNAP as a weapon. Oh, God. Janie Likens just said car insurance, homeowners, and renters insurance. My son and daughter-in-law just got hit with a big jump on their insurance bill for car insurance and weren't told ahead of time, and here it is Christmas time because I got a grandson that's 17. Now he's covered on his mother's insurance, which is a different household, but they still hit theirs even though he doesn't drive a car. Our homeowner's insurance, we've never had a claim, is outrageous, and our tax base, we are getting to the point with our property taxes because we live in a rural county of Ohio. So in order to support the schools, they're really hitting property tax owners because we don't have a big tax base. We don't have a big population of property owners. We don't have that tax base that they do in cities. It's been said to be unconstitutional time and time again. It's even in Ohio's Constitution on how we're supposed to fund schools, and they just flat refuse to do it. If our taxes and homeowners insurance continue to go up, we're going to have to sell our home place, as a lot of people are, because we can't afford the damn taxes. And we live in a rural area of Ohio that doesn't have a whole lot of jobs and things to do. It's really getting out of hand. Yeah, Joan Henry says, tell her checkbook it's not affordable. Judy Birdsall said the doctor's office is run by nurses with doctor's name at the top. You've never seen a doctor. I got to be honest with you. I've got 3 care practitioners that are nurse practitioners at a doctor's office, and I get better care. It seems like the nurse practitioners have more time to listen to your whole breadth of what's wrong with you and tell you different things you can do and are more sensitive to the cost of medications and stuff. So I'm glad that we're allowing nurse practitioners, but if they're not considered professionals anymore, we're going to lose nurse practitioners. And when you live in rural America, if you don't have nurse practitioners, you don't have health care. Just plain and simple. Michael Beatty said, did you hear about Congress attacking the VA benefits? They're introducing a bill to take away benefits from any veteran who is rated at 70% and under. They're going to have a hard time with that. I'm not saying they're not going to try. They're going to try to privatize our Social Security too. And this is the same people that want to do away with health care before they've got a better plan. Because none of them have ever had to suffer, because all of them are millionaires. Do y'all realize how many rich people we're electing to Congress? And when you have a top-notch candidate that's running for the people, they can't afford to run. And so you will hear people say, well, I heard their name or I saw the billboard. I'm the point, if you're a millionaire, I don't care which party, I ain't voting for your ass because you don't understand how the rest of us are living. Wendy says she's so frustrated with maggots, you just can't break through their thick skulls. And we're not going to break through their skulls. We're just going to constantly repeat the truth, pointing out what's going on, pointing out facts, and then move on. Evelyn has a good question. Where did the money Doge came to save go? Well, Doge just evaporated. Doge, everything's gone. They have just evaporated. They laid off a whole bunch of people, the watchdogs primarily. They didn't save us a damn dime. And what they do with our information? Why did they need to get into our Social Security and get all of our numbers and our information? And why did they need to get into the Treasury and get all of our information? So we had a handful of 20 something snot nosed kids who Elon Musk realized pretty quick on because of us that, hey, I need to get out of Dodge. But he left these little Doge boys behind. Now they've done away with it. Where's our information? Who got our information? What's being done with our information? And is our information on the dark web being sold to the highest bidder? That's the big question. Not where the money that they supposedly saved is. Where is our critical information? What did those snot-nosed kids do with it? But see, they're throwing so much spaghetti on the wall. Where do you start? You can only have so many congressional hearings. Where do you start? And then you got Blondie Pambondi, the protector of pedophiles, more worried about bringing charges against Letitia James to make the taco happy than she is about the real crime that's going on in that administration. Of course, like I said before, old Blondie Pambondi, so used to cleaning up the tacos messes, she gets to change these diapers because that's nothing for her. Okay, let's see who else we got here. We got Cindy Wells said, thank you so much. She lives in Indiana. Yeah, you guys won the Big Ten last night. And she's so mad about the $40 billion paid to Argentina. He pardons his friends and drug dealers. I believe Trump is receiving something for the pardons. Oh, absolutely. It is a pay to play in this. Anybody who gets his endorsement pays for it. Peter Thiel forked out about $40 million total, $10 million to get the endorsement for J.D. Vance to be endorsed for Senate, and then probably roughly another $30 million for J.D. Vance to be vice president. Anybody getting a pardon is paying for it, you better believe it. And for somebody that's so worried about the war on drugs, he just pardoned one of the biggest drug pens that ever come out. That was the president of Honduras. Yeah, people are paying to play. And gee, isn't Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, just the perfect way to move that around, because the IRS can't see how the money's being moved around. There's no footprint. There's no who does what. Cryptocurrency is for criminals. Let's just call it out, call it like it is. We have now found a way for rich people to move money around and for criminals to move money around without any type of oversight at all, without any footprint, without knowing what's going on. We're going to call it like it is, and that's why Donald Trump is swimming in it. And keep in mind, it doesn't bother him to pardon drug dealers or to blow up people in the ocean, because he had a mass murderer in the White House and gave him a big state dinner, and that was the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Let's just call it like it is. Okay. Viona Wade says, not trying to be funny, but people welcome to everyday life, most people of diversity. This country has been headed towards the haves and the have-nots, and the majority of us are in the have-not category. You aren't kidding. And it's always been that way. It's just getting more and more prevalent. The sad thing is these Christian nationalist, so-called MAGA movement people, most of them are being played like fools and are hit the hardest. Those of us who are down here, we're used to it. We know how to adjust. We've worked hard. These people really believed, and they're so dug in, and they're the ones getting hurt the hardest. They're the ones who are getting Medicaid. I had one woman yell at me that she's on the Affordable Care Act. She's not on that Obamacare and Medicaid. They don't understand. They don't, but they don't want to understand. They are blissfully ignorant by choice. Same people that'll argue things with you in the Bible, and you'll tell them to show you exactly where it says in the Bible, they'll throw up their hands. And this includes some of these little small church preachers who never went to a seminary. They just start regurgitating what they've heard, and most of it's not true and nowhere in the Bible either. And I don't know what you do with that. There's people that don't know. There are people that don't know any better. And then there's people that are intentionally, woefully ignorant by choice. And I don't know what you do with that. Lorna Reed said, start with the 25th Amendment. Now, let's be cautious here about getting what you wish for, because then we have to deal with Jimmy Hamill. And the issue with Jimmy Hamill is he's not stupid. The taco, I think, on the IQ scale doesn't break into triple digits. You know, it's sad but true. He's been told he was special all of his life. He's been told he was smart all of his life because behind the scenes, Daddy was writing checks. But Jimmy Hamill isn't stupid. And Jimmy Hamill will go the way the wind blows. And right now, Peter Thiel is, I could be funny and say is who's blowing Jimmy, but I won't. I won't say that. I didn't say that. But he's pulling the strings. And Peter Thiel is an acknowledged South African white supremacist Nazi sympathizer. And he's been very open about that. So I don't know if it's so good that we're wanting to hit the 25th Amendment yet, especially right now with the cabinet that he's got. So I don't know. I think that's why the taco got Jimmy Hamill, is that he wanted to make sure he got somebody more unlikable than he was. I could be wrong. Barbara Wilbur said, I guess I'm fortunate. I see the nurse practitioner first, then my doctor comes in Florida. As a senior citizen, I do get phone calls from their office every few weeks, and I do have questions and RX refills. You are fortunate. I'm glad that you have that. Florida's better set up, I think, for the senior population than a lot of other places in the U.S. There again, I talked about the tacos fuzzy math. Keep in mind, I have not seen that prescriptions have been reduced by 100, 200, 900%. And that comes out his mouth, and everybody who's sat there worshiping him at the table, nobody ever corrects him. I mean, dear God, they're not paying you to take those medications. And those love fests, those cabinet meetings, don't you just want to put your fingers down your throat and gag? It's just outrageous. Kevin Reynolds says, JD, maybe it's the Maybelline, but Vance is hillbilly like us. JD Vance ain't no damn hillbilly. JD Vance and his Mamaw, she took care of him while his mommy was in rehab. He grew up in Middletown, Ohio. He grew up comfortable, very comfortable by our standards here. Evelyn says, bankrupting farmers so they can buy up all the property. Yes, J.D. Vance is in on that too. I can't believe the stuff that they're letting these people get by with. Judith Parker said, ignorant by choice is right. Yes, it is. Melissa Augustine said, just look at someone like Rick Scott. For those of you that don't know, the Florida Senator Rick Scott was in a huge scam when it had to do with nursing facilities and billing nursing facilities, and that's how he became a millionaire, damn near billionaire. Stop electing these rich people, folks. Let's see. Let me see if we have anything else. Brenda Bell, she worked for 55 years on a farm before going to a real job and getting $12.20 a month. I know. Let's see. Janie Likens says JD and Erica Kirk want to be the next power couple. I don't think that's too far off center. Now, he might say he and Usha are just fine. You look at Usha's body language. Yeah, they're not fine. Usha's still pissed. For those who've been following Mamaw's Porch and Politics, it appears that Facebook has decided to block her site. So how do we circumvent? By using. Yes, they are. Linda says she is 80 years old and she doesn't need parental Trump, Facebook, and big money guidance to protect me from things. Let's keep telling the truth. This is the current government and we are moving to a dictatorship. We absolutely are, and they absolutely have taken this. Everybody is above being 16 years old, and this is censorship. They are censoring. TikTok has been really bad at censoring. I'm also on Blue Sky and Substack. They haven't censored those yet, but my biggest following is here on Facebook because this is the easiest for all of us to get on. All right. Let's see. The Supreme Court is putting off decisions until after the next election. No, they're not. They have that little secret docket, and Clarence Thomas and Tom Alito are still going to be doing shit they shouldn't be. Connie Gage from Dewey, Oklahoma. I'm trying to keep everybody informed as long as these platforms will let me. Okay. Yes. Sue Goldsmith said, frankly, there is no reason that every day there needs to be filmed meeting stage except Taco needs the attention. Can you? Oh my God. Did you all see what FIFA, now that's the organization that's over soccer, in order for them to have the soccer cup here in the United States, talk about quieting down the toddler and buying him a rattler. Did you see that the Soccer International made a soccer peace prize so that Taco would get his peace prize? And he took that medal and put it around his neck. He was so proud of his Cracker Jack made up award. That is what we have stooped to. He's also put his name on the Peace Institute in Washington, D.C., and they are going to be changing the name of the Kennedy Center to the Melania Trump Center. Now, I hope to God that as soon as the election's over in 2026, one of the first things Congress does is go back and put everything back to its correct name. This is just outrageous. And there again, he's not allowed to do this if Congress would do their job. Any special elections that come up, we got to flip those seats. And I'm really disappointed in you people in Tennessee. My God, had an ample opportunity to flip yet another seat and it would have been tied, and you couldn't do it. You just couldn't do it. Jennifer Scott, I don't think Marjorie Taylor Greene has seen the light, because I don't think she ever really believed all that bullcrap she came out with in the first place. She was an opportunist. She's a little political animal, and so she saw an opening and she jumped at it. I think she has decided she wants to run maybe for governor, something bigger, and so she's got to expand her base. So that's what I think's going on. I think she's going to declare to run for governor because I think the current governor, Kemp, is termed out. And so she's got to expand her base. She can't stay in her little niche that she had in her gerrymandered district. But a lot of these uber MAGA people, there's some that are that dumb, but most of them are just political beasts, and they're opportunists, and they saw an opportunity that Taco would endorse them. They'd get in office, and then they get in office and they get keyed in, and that's where they start making millions. I think most people don't realize that usually after a congressman's been in Congress for 3 or 4 terms, less than 10 years, if they go in and they're not a millionaire, they come out a millionaire, and it ain't from their salaries. Oh, I know, Gertie. Gertie Marshall said he couldn't wait to put that medal on himself. I know, it was, you just wanted to laugh. I could just see a toddler throwing a fit and you handing him a pacifier, and they were just so happy. Well, let's see. Oh, and then the last thing is, Ukraine and Russia. Taco's just, he's going to make peace and we'd have never had a war. And he thinks he's solved the world. And there's Russia bombing the shit out of Ukraine still. Um, the problem is Putin. Putin has nothing. And if we really had a president, we could stomp on him with the big old boot and tell him that's enough. You're going to make peace. But whatever Pooty Poo's got on him, and I'm sure it has something to do with Epstein. Everybody thought it was PP tapes. It may be PP tapes, but it may be PP tapes with underage girls. Who knows? But whatever Putin's got over the taco, it must be a dandy. And speaking of which, the Epstein files supposed to be released, I believe by the 16th, certainly by the end of the month. They let out some pictures and it's still been crickets. So what I look for is an 11th hour filing to some court that it needs to be stopped because they're investigating something or other, or some kind of roadblock will go up. And they're still trying to redact names, and it was very clear only the victims are to be redacted. We're to have the names. So we've really got to stay on that and keep watching that. So, y'all, this is all I have on this Sunday morning. I want you to get out there and enjoy things. Join me again for new name, and it came from you all. We're going to start calling it Taco Tuesdays at 8 o'clock, and I am sure there'll be plenty more to talk about on Tuesday. And eventually, we're going to start figuring some things out. Now, coming up, I'll be interviewing Ty Pinkins. He's a JAG officer, veteran, who's running as an independent in the state of Mississippi for the Senate. Then I will be interviewing Amy Acton, who's running for governor of Ohio. That should be really fun. I'm excited about that. Then I'm interviewing Adam Miller. Adam is running for a congressional seat. He's a retired JAG officer as well, and he has volunteered with Eugene Vindman to defend Senator Mark Kelly if he is getting court-martialed, which right now I think that they wish that they hadn't dug up that old bone, because now, everything else is coming out. And even if it is a court-martial, he's entitled to have witnesses and evidence. So that's going to be really interesting. You want to keep poking that bear. That could be a real fun fight. So that's what Mamaw's got coming up. And then when spring comes and I open up my porch, I'm actually going to start having people come and visit me on my porch and talk. So that's going to be a lot of fun too. So I have a busy week ahead of me. And I hope you all will watch and share what I'm dropping, because it's good information. If you have missed anything, like I said, in my drop that I did about birthright citizenship, in the comments, I've listed all the things that I've done in the past that explain these people's citizenship, their immigration status, and birthright citizenship. You can go to YouTube at Mamaw's Porch and Politics. And on the video section, there's a lot of videos that I did early on where I explain a lot of this stuff. And then I have shorts. So there's 2 different sections on my YouTube. But everything I have ever done is there. If you're bored one afternoon, go look through those, because you'll find a lot of interesting information there if you see something. Now, what I'm going to start doing when I close out is I will take one personal question anybody wants to know. No, MK Werner, Mamaw is not running for president. So anybody want to have a question, and I'll either answer it truthfully or tell you it's none of your business. Anybody? No questions? Hello, Bernadine Stanley from the mountains of Virginia. Okay. Rose from Lakeland, Florida. You stay salty too, girl. You stay salty too. Okay. Well, if that's all we have, Sure I got everything. Alrighty then. We've got it all, so y'all stay salty. Use your outside voices, which I know you all are. And make sure you keep calling and writing those congressmen and senators because you've got plenty of topics. Hell, you can do an epic note to them on all of the above because anything you send them in writing, they have to respond to. When you call, even if you get their answering machine, they have to log your call. And little known fact, under the Freedom of Information Act, you can ask for those call logs to see who's been calling in. So stay salty. Love y'all. And we'll do this again Tuesday night. Bye bye.